Welcome back to the Crypto is Key conversation. So in regards to this Ripple versus SC case and everything that we as the XRP community have been pulling up with the Ethereum Free Pass timeline, piecing together everything with Johnny Deaton, digital asset investor, and all parties involved, there's a lot of shadiness that we've been seeing, and we've been shouting it from the rooftops, trying to tweet congressmen and women, and trying to let other members in the government know, let all the mainstream media know kind of what's been going on. And it's like, it seems like everyone just kind of keeps blinding their eyes and shutting their ears off to the truth. There's very few people out there that are really starting to see what's going on and starting to report on it. Obviously, we have Eleanor Terrett and Charles Gasparino. We have, Johnny Deaton in class action lawsuit, digital asset investor, and other YouTubers and other Twitter personalities that are starting to cover this stuff. And also we have Jason Foster and Empower Oversight, but that's not enough. We need the mainstream media to really start jumping in and really starting to see kind of what's going on. And digital asset investor always talks about all the world's a stage. And he brings up how the Bernie Madoff stuff is like, you can't sit here and claim you weren't aware of these things when we're sitting here telling you all of this so-called ETH gate or this Ethereum Free Pass, this scandal that's been happening, this monopoly they've tried to create from Bitcoin and Ethereum. We've found them. We've caught them in the act. We've caught them in their lies and their shady behavior. And we're trying to show you that, hey, this is happening. So when it comes down to it, if you're going to keep ignoring what's going on, don't sit there and act like you can sit there on your high horse on your pedestal and act like you didn't know what was going on. Because we've been showing you, we've been tweeting you, we've been making videos, we've been calling you guys and trying to figure out, hey, this is what's happening. Someone needs to investigate what's been happening with the SEC, all parties involved in this ETHgate, Ethereum Free Pass. Investigate the Ethereum ICO. Who are these disguised well? Who are a part of these 63 emails that was, brought together and congregated together to create this Ethereum Free Pass? We all need the regulatory clarity we need in this space to have, great innovation, not stifle innovation, and to let this space be prosperous, but it needs to be done properly regulated with the proper clarity and on a level playing field. So it's like whenever this thing ends with the Ripple versus SC stuff, whether it, goes to the courts, goes through full litigation or settlement, whatever the case is, like these, government officials and these people that are, turning their blind eye to it or that were a part of it, they can't act like this wasn't a thing or this they can't believe that this happened because we've been trying to show this. So without me rambling on and on, I really wanted to cover this video that Digital Asset Investor had tweeted on March 13, 2022. He says, whistleblower alert, Congress must investigate the Ethereum ICO and the Ethereum Free Pass. You won't be able to hold hearings later and say you didn't know. Watch it all, retweet Wiley, tag your congressman. So we're just going to play this and then I'm going to end the video.
If you look at who the victims were not, you'll notice that the major firms on Wall Street had no money with Mr. Madoff.
I mean, you write this is the letter, I'm quoting from the letter to the Securities and Exchange Commission, red flag number 20. Madoff is suspected of being a fraud by some of the world's largest, most sophisticated financial services firms. And then you list some of the firms.
Yes, I do.
The biggest firms on Wall Street, and conversations with people high up in those firms.
That is correct. And the SEC ignored that.
Did they call any of these people?
All the SEC had to do was pick up the phone. They never did.
If you had executives at the biggest investment houses in Wall Street that knew something was wrong, why do you think they didn't go to the SEC?
Because people in glass houses don't throw stones, and self-regulation on Wall Street doesn't work.
In a bad economy, Madoff's lies simply collapsed under their own weight.
No one was investigating Mr. Madoff at the end.
So he turned himself in before anybody in a position of authority began a serious investigation.
That's typically how the SEC does it. They come in after the crime has been committed. They toe tag the victims, count the bodies, and try to figure out who the crooks were after the fact, which does none of us any good. Have delivered the largest Ponzi scheme in history to them, and somehow they couldn't be bothered to conduct a thorough and proper investigation because they were too busy on matters of higher priority. If a $50 billion Ponzi scheme doesn't make the SEC's priority list, then I want to know who sets their priorities.
That was Harry Markopoulos, the whistleblower who says his warnings about alleged multi-billion-dollar Ponzi schemer Bernie Madoff were ignored by the SEC for more than a decade. In a special hearing on Capitol Hill, a remarkable hearing, the SEC representatives were asked by lawmakers to explain how they completely missed Madoff's alleged fraud, though they'd been alerted to it by this whistleblower. So the questioning by Congressman Gary Ackerman of New York was remarkable to witness. Take a look as he blasted the SEC witnesses.
What the heck went on? Your mission, you said, was to protect investors and detect fraud quickly. How'd that work out? What went wrong? It seems to me a private, with all of your investigators and all of your agency and everything that you all described, one guy with a few friends and helpers discovered this thing nearly a decade ago, led you to this pile of dung that is Bernie Madoff, and stuck your nose in it, and you couldn't figure it out. You couldn't find your backside with two hands if the lights were on. Could you explain yourselves? You have single-handedly diffused the American public of any sense of confidence in our financial markets if you are the watchdogs. You have totally and thoroughly failed in your mission. Don't you get it? And now other people are investigating what you should have found out, and you're hiding behind, well, maybe we can't talk because someone else is looking at it. Well, you forfeited your right to investigate by not doing it, certainly not doing it properly or adequately. And now you're trying to tell us that because other people are looking at it, you're not going to tell us what's going on? Like hell you won't. What happened here? That's a question. Do we start with hear no evil, see no evil, or do no evil? Take your pick.
It did not end there. The bashing continued when Congressman Ackerman asked Andrew Vollmer, SEC acting general counsel, to respond to the accusations. Now watch what happens when he gets all lawyerly. Watch.
The commission has voted the position that you will cite executive privilege in not testifying before this committee and answering its questions.
I couldn't say that to you honestly because the specific reasons weren't discussed and given by the commission. But the basis is that we're seeking
your value to us is useless.
Accommodation, and we've
your
tried
value
to
to the American people is worthless. Your contribution to this proceeding is zero.
We ask that you take into account the concerns that have been well settled over many years, and we'd ask you to take those into account.
Our economy is in crisis, Mr. Vollmer. We thought the enemy was Mr. Madoff. I think it's you.
And the other thing that the SEC won't give us is, did you know that 63 emails went out with that draft speech that gave Ether a free pass? Do you know who was the only commissioner to get a draft version of it?
Who's that?
Jay Clayton. Did you know Crypto Mom herself, Hester Peirce, never saw it? How do you draft?
Why would Clayton even be involved in that draft? Why would he even?
He gave input. He's the only commissioner. Bill Hinman was deposed. Ripple was successful in getting him deposed. Of course, they redact everything to the public. And I have it here if you want to see it. The lawyers ask him, did you ever represent...
How much is redacted?
Ethereum, 90%.
Can I see? This goes to Pat. You were telling a story a couple weeks back about you were at Harvard and you said that there was a guy who was having trouble.
He said, just find a congressman, pay him $500,000.
That was it.
He's going through an election and he'll help you put up a law to hurt them.
This is it?
Yeah.
In action. He's asked questions like, have you ever worked for Ethereum Foundation? Look at the answers.
Look at the redactions.
All right, and this isn't the whole. This isn't the whole lawsuit.
Dude, are you kidding me? Right? This is insane.
Now, why would they redact, Pat, if he's asked a question, have you ever had clients that are part of the Ethereum Foundation? If I represent you and your business, I can't talk about what we talk about.
So is this public record?
No, it was an exhibit that's public record.
Can we show this? Or
oh, yes, you can show it.
So,
absolutely.
So I don't know if people can see this.
And it's pages of that.
This is an entire page of every single word on the page redacted, and there's pages of it.
This is your transparent Securities Exchange Commission.
Holy moly.
Yeah, Mike's asking, will there be a limit on the amount that a person could invest in Ethereum?
So pay very close attention to this part here, okay?
A person can buy from any number of different identities. We may limit the size, the unit size of a sale, just to make it easier to disguise. Let's say if you're a whale and you want some privacy, you can buy 50,000 units, and so nobody scares people with an enormous initial purchase. So if you are a whale, if you are planning on investing several million US dollars worth, then you can do that for multiple identities. We will ask for a real-world identity in the form of email address, just so that we can make sure that everything works smoothly the whole way through the process. But we won't be requiring it. So we can create a pseudonymous email and identity and purchase them.
So I'm obviously, take that and kind of formulate your own opinion based on, your understanding of what's going on within the space, especially with the Ripple versus SC case and everything that's been uncovered with the timeline that we've all pieced together. Thanks to, Johnny Deaton, Tag XRP, digital asset investor, and all parties involved. But it's like, I'm not a hater of any one crypto. I invest in Ethereum. I love Ethereum. I invest in Bitcoin. I have a lot of XRP. I invest in a whole, cornucopia of digital assets. But the thing is, it's like, when you have a case that's truly capable of setting precedents, that will set precedents for the entire crypto space, and you have Ethereum, as we start piecing together more things, we start to see the monopoly that's been created. We start to realize that it's not as decentralized as it is. That creates a danger to the entire space, to all investors, and it can't happen. We have to make sure that the truth gets out there, and that these media, mainstream media outlets, all these major players in government, and people in positions of influence and power need to be spreading this around like wildfire, because this cannot happen. This is only going to affect what the crypto space is all about. This can't happen. Let me know down in the comments kind of what you think of kind of everything. Quite honestly, yeah, they can't sit here and say, if they're not going to listen to what we're saying and what we're showing them, they can't go to to their hearings and later say they didn't know, because we've put it out here. We've been putting it out here for years now. So it's like, it's time to step up and do the right thing. The truth is on our side as XRP investors and people that are on the right side of the law, on the right side of history. It's just a matter of time before the regulatory clarity comes in that we need, and this space, isn't stifled in its innovation, and it allows this space to be prosperous and grow and do what it's supposed to do. Fight the good fight that it's supposed to fight. Solve the real world problems that are out there. This space has to thrive. The writing's on the wall. Crypto's here to stay. We need a level playing field. We need regulatory clarity that we need. Let's spread this around. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.